The Titan had been dead for centuries. At least, that's what we thought. I stood on the edge of the excavation site, my breath fogging inside my helmet. The remains of the Titan stretched before us, a skeletal colossus, half buried in the red sands of Kepler's 62F. Its ribcage, large enough to house a city block, curved toward the sky like the ruins of some ancient cathedral. Its skull, monstrous, elongated, lined with razor-like protrusions, rested at an unnatural tilt, as if frozen mid-roar. Commander Vale's voice crackled in my earpiece. "Dr. Lang, you seeing this?" I exhaled. "Yeah." The team was already moving in, small against the sheer scale of the thing. We had found the Titan's corpse 3 days ago, but only now had we managed to unearth its cavernous chest cavity. That was the objective: go inside, analyze the remains, see what we could learn about the creature that had once walked this planet. But something felt off. The wind howled across the barren landscape, rattling against my suit. The longer I looked at the corpse, the more unsettled I became. It wasn't just the size, it was the sheer wrongness of it. Like something about the way it had died wasn't natural. Vale's voice came through again. "Lang, you and Casper are heading inside first." "You good?" I swallowed, glancing at my partner. Casper grinned through his visor. "Scared, Doc?" I rolled my eyes. "Let's move." We activated our suit thrusters, gliding across the open ribcage. The Titan's remains groaned beneath our boots, as if protesting our presence. A few more steps, and we were inside. The ribcage arched overhead like an ancient tomb. Our flashlights cut through the darkness, revealing layers of petrified muscle and sinew, long since turned to stone. Every step echoed. Dust floated like motes in zero gravity. I checked my scanner. No movement. No heat signatures. "Good," Casper muttered. "Don't need any surprises today." The others followed, their helmet lights bobbing in the gloom. The deeper we went, the more oppressive it became. The air felt heavy. A strange, low hum vibrated through my bones. "Commander," I said. "Are you hearing that?" A pause. Then Vale's voice, uneasy. "Yeah." "What the hell is that?" It was coming from deeper inside. We moved carefully, stepping over what looked like ancient, fossilized organs. And then, "Jesus," Casper whispered. We had reached the Titan's heart. Or what remained of it. A massive, hollow cavity sat before us. The heart itself had long since decayed, but in its place, something pulsed. A structure. A pod. Organic, yet mechanical. Black, chitinous plating lined its surface, shifting slightly, as if breathing. It was fused into the Titan's chest like a parasite. Casper aimed his rifle. "That doesn't look dead to me." I took a cautious step forward, raising my scanner. The readings went haywire. "Commander," I said. "This thing, it's giving off life signs." A long silence. Then Vale's voice. "Repeat that?" I turned to the others, heart pounding. "We didn't just find a corpse?" The pod twitched. The hum in my bones turned into a piercing shriek. And then the pod opened. A mass of limbs burst outward. The thing inside the pod moved. It happened so fast. 1 second, the chitinous shell was still, seemingly dead like the rest of the Titan's remains. The next, it split apart with a wet, tearing sound, releasing a rush of thick, black vapor that flooded the chamber. "Shit back!" Casper shouted, raising his rifle. The mass of limbs that erupted from within was wrong, long, segmented, too many joints, each twitching unnaturally. A second later, the creature collapsed forward onto the ground, convulsing as though it had been violently expelled from its prison. I stumbled back, heart hammering. "What the hell?" The creature twitched. Its body, sleek, insectoid, but eerily humanoid in shape, was slick with some kind of translucent secretion. Its exoskeleton gleamed a deep, iridescent black, and along its elongated skull, 2 deep pits pulsed like organic vents, exhaling thin wisps of gas. The alien was alive. And it was waking up. Casper aimed his weapon. "Commander, we got a goddamn live organism in here." Vale's voice snapped through comms. Confirm, alive? I barely heard her. My eyes were locked on the creature. It twitched again, its skeletal fingers scraping against the Titan's fossilized interior. It tried to lift itself, shuddering, struggling, like something that hadn't moved in centuries. Then it looked at me. Not with eyes. It had none. But I felt it. Something inside my skull lurched. A presence, cold, ancient, alien, pressed against my thoughts like a clawed hand trying to dig inside. Gh, I choked, stumbling back. Then it screamed. A noise that wasn't sound, not really. It was inside my head, inside my bones. A pulse of raw, psychic energy exploded outward. My visor cracked as I was thrown backward, slamming against the Titan's ribcage. The whole skeleton shook. Casper opened fire. The chamber lit up in a blaze of plasma rounds, streaking toward the thing's shifting, chitinous body. The bullets hit, but instead of piercing flesh, they warped, distorting like they had struck something not fully in this reality. The creature blurred. For a split second, it phased, its body glitching in and out of existence like a stuttering hologram. Then, in a blur of motion too fast to track, it was on Casper. Casper! I screamed. Too late. The creature slammed into him, knocking his weapon aside. Long, multi-jointed fingers closed around his helmet. Casper struggled, gasping, but the alien pushed its face close, its featureless skull pressing against his visor. Then Casper froze. His whole body went rigid. His breathing stopped. The alien was inside his mind. No. I lunged forward, grabbing my sidearm. I fired 3 shots. One of them connected, striking the creature's shoulder. This time, it reacted, not in pain but in recognition. It turned to me. The pressure in my skull doubled. I fell to my knees, vision swimming. Images, not my own, flooded my thoughts in a violent rush. A planet drowning in fire. Colossal titans marching across an alien sky. A war. A massacre. A last survivor, trapped inside the corpse of a fallen god. The thing in front of me wasn't just a random organism. It was the last of its kind. The final remnant of a species that had died with the Titan it had once called a home. And now it was awake. The vision snapped. I gasped, suddenly back in my body. Casper crumpled to the ground beside me, unmoving. The alien had let him go, but not before taking something from him. My comms crackled, Vale yelling. Lang, what's happening? The alien rose, and I felt it decide. We were a threat. It was going to kill us all. Then the Titan's corpse started moving. A tremor ripped through the chamber. The colossal ribs of the Titan groaned, shifting ever so slightly, raining down dust and debris from above. No. No. Lang, what the hell is going on down there? Vale's voice crackled in my earpiece, barely audible over the rising rumble. Casper was still motionless on the ground, his eyes open, his body stiff. I had no idea if he was alive or dead. But I didn't have time to check. The alien was still standing over him. And it was changing. Its limbs elongated, twisting, its chitinous exoskeleton shifting like it was morphing in real time. Something inside it began to glow, a sickly, pulsating crimson light that radiated from beneath its plated skin. It turned its featureless head toward me, and I felt it again, that pressure in my skull, like 1,000 whispering voices clawing their way into my thoughts. You should not have come here. The words weren't spoken. They were implanted into my brain, buzzing like a swarm of insects. And then, the corpse of the Titan moved. A seismic shockwave knocked me off my feet as the chamber lurched violently. The ancient ribcage above us shifted, groaning as something deep within the Titan's remains stirred. Lang, report! Vale shouted through comms. We just picked up a tremor the size of a tectonic shift. What the hell is happening? The Titan, it's waking up? I shouted. Which should have been impossible. This thing had been dead for centuries, maybe millennia. It was fossilized, a ruin, a relic, so why was it moving? I scrambled to my feet, reaching for Casper. Come on, man, get up. He didn't respond. His body was still rigid, unblinking. Another tremor tore through the chamber. The walls shuddered. The Titan's skeletal frame groaned, its massive, petrified limbs shifting. The remains of what had once been a godlike colossus were somehow stirring back to life. And the alien, the thing that had been trapped inside, wasn't surprised. It had expected this. No, it had caused it. The Titan's colossal spinal column cracked, shaking loose massive slabs of petrified bone. I barely dove out of the way in time as a chunk of vertebrae the size of a dropship collapsed where I had been standing seconds before. And through the deafening chaos, the alien stepped forward. No rush, no panic, no hesitation. It knew exactly what was happening, and I suddenly realized. It was never a prisoner inside this corpse. It was the key, and we had just turned it. The Titan's head shifted. I froze. It wasn't possible. This thing was dead, and yet I watched as the mountainous remains of its skull began to move. The petrified jaws, ***, so large they could swallow a city whole, ***, let out a deep, rumbling exhale. A sound so vast, so ancient that it wasn't just noise. It was a memory. A sound that had echoed across the stars before our species even existed. I looked back at the alien, and I understood. It hadn't just been revived. It had revived the Titan. And the Titan remembered. It remembered the war. The slaughter. It remembered its enemies. It remembered us. And it was angry. The ribcage cracked apart, splitting like the maw of some unfathomable beast. The petrified remains broke open, revealing something that should have never been possible. Flesh. New. Regenerating. The Titan wasn't just waking up. It was coming back to life. I grabbed Casper, hoisting him over my shoulder. If he was alive, I had to get him out of here. I slammed my comms. Vale, we need evac now. Lang, what's your status? It's waking up. The Titan is waking up. A silence. Then, Vale's voice ice-cold. Say again. We woke it up. The Titan is regenerating. Another shockwave sent me reeling. I turned and froze. The Titan's eyes opened. And in them, I saw the end of everything. A deep, ancient tremor pulsed through the chamber, rattling my bones. I barely stayed on my feet as the Titan's colossal form shifted, petrified bones splitting open as fresh flesh and sinew slithered into place, regenerating like something out of a nightmare. Casper was still unconscious, slung over my shoulder, dead weight as I stumbled backward, my mind screaming for an exit, any exit. But there wasn't one. We were trapped. And the Titan was waking up. The alien, the thing that had been inside the corpse for God knows how long, stood at the base of the rising monolith of living flesh. Its chitinous body pulsed with that same sickly crimson glow, its form still shifting, still evolving. It had been waiting for this. It had been designed for this. This wasn't just some lost creature inside the Titan's remains. It was a resurrector, a failsafe, and we had just helped it bring back something that should have stayed dead. The Titan's jaw split open, a deep, rumbling exhale escaping into the cavernous tomb. The sound wasn't just noise, it was a memory, an echo of something beyond time. A voice from a war before humanity ever existed. And that voice was angry. I slammed my comms. Vale. Evac. Now. Static. Then, we're coming. 30 seconds out? We don't have 30 seconds. The Titan's head shifted, its massive, newly formed muscles tensing beneath stone-like skin. Its gaze locked onto me, something cosmic and unfathomable stirring in those eyes. It saw me. It recognized me. No, it recognized what I was. A human. The species that had killed it. The alien beside it turned to me, its voice slithering into my mind like barbed wire. You should not exist. The Titan's jaw unhinged. A deep vortex of energy swirled in its throat, a gathering storm of sheer annihilation. It was going to erase me. I ran. The Titan roared. A wave of force ripped through the chamber, sending shockwaves through the ancient bones, cracking apart the landscape of its own corpse. The sheer pressure of the sound obliterated everything in its path. Petrified walls shattered, monolithic rib bones crumbled like dust. I threw myself behind a crumbling mass of rock, shielding Casper's unconscious body as the shock wave tore through the tomb, erasing everything in its wake. When I looked up, the cavern was gone. The ceiling had been ripped away. Above me was open space. Not the sky. Something else. The void. Blackness. Endless. Writhing with shapes I couldn't comprehend. The Titan had been buried inside something ancient. Something that wasn't just rock. This had never been a tomb. It had been a prison. And we had just opened the door. A roar from above, a deep, world-ending sound as the Titan pushed itself upright, its newly regenerated form stretching into the black. I was watching a god stand up. And it wasn't alone. From the depths of the void, something else moved. Shape. Colossal. Unfathomable. The things the Titan had once fought. They were still here. Still waiting. And now they had seen us. The alien turned its featureless gaze to me, whispering in my mind. You brought back the war. I barely heard it, because above us, the stars were going out, one by one, blotted out by things beyond comprehension. And the Titan, the thing we had woken up, roared at them. A war older than our galaxy had just reignited. And we were in the middle of it. Vale's voice screamed in my comms. Lang. Jump now. I didn't think. I grabbed Casper, hit my thrusters, and leapt into the abyss.